Tinfoil Tidbits, episode 14. All right, let's start off with Eagle Eye. Now, this movie came out in 2008. I had said in the past that the Snowden trilogy is Eagle Eye, Minority Report, and Enemy of the State. And I just noticed, though, that on the poster for this, the subline is, if you want to live, you will obey. Now, there's a scene in Eagle Eye. It happens around 59 minutes in. It's when he goes to Circuit City. And it showcased everything that people are now learning about social media, the intent behind it, back in 2008. One of the screenshots I freezed it on is it shows his profile. And they're showing like all the different things from the internet that all got interconnected into one thing. Which, by the way, this is true. I learned about this in 2001, right after 9/11. That this gigantic database was being created, and we were urged to become database administrators to take part in this whole thing. But not to get too far into that, we have these are the movies that were shown for Shia LaBeouf's character. We got The Big Lebowski, City of God, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I don't know what movie this is, so if you know what that is, let me know in the comments. Full Metal Jacket, I think that's what that says. Donnie Darko, Usual Suspects, Office Space, Fight Club, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. What an interesting list. I'm not sure how, I don't know what that is, and I'm not sure how City of God fits in or Full Metal Jacket, but Big Lebowski, Eternal Sunshine, Donnie Darko, 2001, Fight Club, and Office Space. All those, the only thing missing here is The Matrix and Dark City and Truman Show, but that's a pretty good list. And to think that this was in 2008, Sensorama. So if you guys saw the Alex Jones, Joe Rogan episode, they briefly mentioned Sensorama. It's pretty neat. I saw a video on it. A lot of people in the comments said that they came here from the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones episode. And yeah, VR has been being worked on for a very long time, before even video games. And the funny part is the whole 5 cents experience at Epcot. There's like a movie theater that is there, and it has like wind that comes from the bottom, and then fire feelings, and then aromas that come in. So in the past, they wanted to give you a full sensory experience cinematically, but for whatever reason, they've abandoned that. I guess it's just cost prohibitive to do stuff like that, and people really don't appreciate it anyway. I mean, after all, do you really want to smell bad things? I'm not sure how smell could really work out good in a film. I mean, maybe, but there's just so many allergies, and yeah, the amount of money it would take to create all the different aromas. But here, this is just another example of everything's been invented or worked on, just not implemented. We do not have a technological problem. We have a political problem. All right, now here, eBay, get a higher level of protection. This isn't about eBay. This is about these messages that I'm getting from every company I do, not every, but a lot of the companies I do business with online. They're all saying, hey, it's been more than a year since you last updated your personal info. Keeping your personal info up to date can help better protect your account. So as I was saying when I was talking about Eagle Eye, that I was told about this super database that was going to be made back in 2001. This is part of it. So the way it was explained to us was that people don't feel comfortable giving their information to the government all the time, even though I'm like, yeah, people feel compelled to do that. So what are you talking about? But it said that people love giving their information to corporations. And so there's going to be a incentive program for corporations to collect data and then send it back to, I don't know, the Prism Promise database. And in return, they get marketing data and other access to this super duper database. So that scene in Eagle Eye, that's real. At least I was told it was real outside of like in an educational situation. But you guys know that by now with Snowden, so I don't have to worry about saying that. All right, conop 8888. A friend of mine sent this to me, and he's like, just check this out and think of it on multiple levels. So conop 8888, also known as counter zombie dominance, is the United States Department of Defense Strategic Command CONOP document that describes a plan for defending against zombies. The April 30th, 2011 document depicts fictional scenarios of zombie attacks as a means of training students in military planning. So, one, I'm not sure when the bath salt zombie happened, but, these training exercises, you could use zombies, ha ha. But if you read the document and you replace zombies for people, the document is a lot more interesting than just a silly fictional thing to read. So look it up. It's online. Open source everything engineering. So open source everything engineering is an affordable, interoperable, and scalable to the 5 billion poor now neglected by industrial era engineers. Data-driven, a design revolution could enable the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals within a decade, 2 at most, at 1/10 the cost of the current paradigm. An open source technology agency is proposed as the starting point for the second industrial informational revolution, doing the right thing. This reminds me of two things, both from the same guy. It reminds me of The Design Decade by R. Buckminster Fuller, and it also reminds me of what he talked about in Grunch of Giants. He called it the invisible know-how. And the know-how has all been classified, but people have the invisible know-how. And this is suggesting let's just open source everything. Everything's been invented, just not implemented. This is the path to abundance. So, but my question about this, I'm always talking about abundance, ending artificial scarcity, releasing the tech, but nobody's following that lead. Nobody. Other than Peter Joseph, and even he's kind of abandoned it. I'm saying, hey, the tech is here. There's no reason anybody should be living in poverty. Nobody should be starving. In 1981, Buckminster Fuller said, we have the technology to feed 11 billion people using the agricultural methods of harvesting food and distribution. And he said that the only reason people starve, it's not because of a technological issue, but because of a political issue. He said a small amount of people want to keep people down and things exactly the way they are. So if you want to stop that, don't even bother with the two-party system. Just talk about open sourcing everything. Talk about releasing the technology, asking why people are still starving when we have the technological means to feed 11 billion people. And it's not like America has to feed everybody. You could just share the techniques that you use to grow food. Duh. Axl Lotus. So I was watching animal videos with my wife. She loves animals. I enjoy them too, but I don't love them as much as she does. But she showed me this Axl Lotus creature. And what's interesting about it to me is that from what the video said, is you could cut this guy's arms and legs off and they repeatedly grow back. Like, as you could see in his head, he's got like things growing out of his head. He's like a lizard can just grow his tail back. This thing can grow everything back repeatedly. So it's not so much to be in awe of this creature. Oh boy, the Axl Lotus can grow body parts back. It's to say this: it is possible to grow parts back. That's the big takeaway. Is, hey, the Axl Lotus, it's not a fictional character in a Steven Spielberg film or in a cartoon by Disney. It's a real creature designed in the video game of life, Earth, written by God, whoever, and this thing can grow body parts back. How does the Axl Lotus grow body parts back? Like, on demand, you keep cutting it off and it'll keep growing it back. They said it's pretty animal cruelty to keep cutting this thing's body parts off, but to find out, it's got to happen at some point. And they said it kept growing body parts back. How does it do it? We got to find out and then offer that to humans. Now, the Axl Lotus grows body parts back for free. You don't really need to charge, watch this, an arm and a leg. But I want people to realize that when you learn the stuff about animals, don't just be enamored with, oh boy, it's an animal and he's so cool. Say, how does that animal have those abilities? Like when you see a fly on the ceiling or some kind of insect or even a lizard or spider on the ceiling crawling, just be like, how the heck does that insect do that? Now, you give an explanations. It has like little tiny suction cups or like claws, but you're seeing it happen in front of your face. Things that are seemingly unreal. Oh yeah, look, there's an insect crawling on the ceiling. Oh, look at that lizard climbing the wall. Always ask, how do we get that? And then know that these creatures have been studied, not by the average person, but by the advanced people. And they know. Here's another one she told me about. She said, well, have you ever heard of the tardigrade? And I'm like, what? And she showed me these pictures. And I'm like, no way. That thing is real? Now, the real thing of this doesn't quite look like this, but it does, but it doesn't. Like these seem to be enhanced pictures because it's a microorganism. But look at this thing. This thing is incredible. It's got no face. It's got this giant body. I would say that this is kind of like the NASA CGI. Now, we all love the tardigrade now. But when you look at it, it doesn't really look like that. This is CGI. But it's not. It looks kind of like this, but not exactly like this. So look at the tardigrade. There's videos of it, like microscope enlarged. So the tardigrade. I never heard about it. I just thought I'd share it with you guys. If you guys knew about it, that's cool. If not, look at that thing. Sixth sense. In my previous video about whining about where's my technology, I had forgot to put the slide in there about Sixth Sense. I don't know if you ever used Sixth Sense. It was a Burger King promotion with Darth Vader around the time one of the Star Wars films came out, probably Revenge of the Sith. And it was like a deductive reasoning 20 questions where Darth Vader can read your mind in 20 questions or less. And this was like around the time Revenge of the Sith came out, so that's a while back. And it was pretty neat to see how, I guess, the reasoning would happen to figure out what, in 20 questions, what object you're thinking about. Anyway, you could still see it online. You can't interact with it, but you could at least see the presentation online at that link. Southie autonomy. This is a pretty cool concept. It's this startup company. They got this robot that basically like runs on macros. Like you just teach it with this magic wand thing, and it then performs whatever you programmed it to do, and you like basically program it on the fly. It's pretty amazing. So look up Southie autonomy. And that's it for this episode of Tinfoil Tidbits. We hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you like the new sound of this new microphone. And I will see you in the next one.